Happy Wednesday. Hope you're all well. Just jumping on quickly because I want to sort of tell the story because a lot of you who have never had an experience of coming to me for Reiki might think that when I talk about people like Jesus or I talk about people like, our biblical characters, that, oh, your one is a total holy Joe, even though I'm not. I would class myself as being a spiritual person, knowledgeable of the spirit side, knowledgeable of what's on the other side of the veil, us being human form down here, having a physical incarnation, being in a human body, and then tapping into the spirit side or through the veil between us and the spirit side. And on the spirit side, we have guides. We have a life guide. Somebody asked me that yesterday. Do we all have guides? We all have life guides. We all have guides that we come here with. And a guide, a spiritual guide, is a guide that comes with us on our human experience. So I have lots of guides that have come down with me because now I am doing Reiki and I have done so many other healing modalities that I have gained different guides in spirit to help me through those healing sessions. A normal person who doesn't do Reiki could have some guides, but most people have at least 1-2 spirit guides. They come at you when you're born. So if you can imagine, before you were incarnated, before you chose to come down in the body that you're in now, you have a guide that sits with you over there. And that guide, that spirit guide, is somebody who may have been with you before in another lifetime that you lived down here, incarnated on Earth or incarnated on a different planet, in a different dimension. You have a guide that has been with you in a physical form, has been with you, walked in the physical shoes, or as I have in a human experience, has been down with you and decided that the next incarnation, when you come in again, actually I won't go down with you onto the human plane or onto the earth plane. I will stay in spirit and I will help you from the light. So we all have a spirit guide. That guide will stay with us from the time we decide to be incarnated into the human body. They watch as we go through our review over in the spirit world before we ever come down into the human body, before we choose what trials, what tribulations, what experiences we're going to go through in this life. The guide is sitting with you, and they sit with you, and you say, well, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to experience this, I want to do all of these things. And the guide is like, oh, you sure? That's a bit too many things to do in one lifetime. You're like, I'm ready for this. And you come in with this spiritual warrior within you, knowing that you're going to come down here to do all of these most amazing things and have all these amazing experiences. But your guide knows, oh God, that's going to be hard, that's going to be hard for her. But the guide stays with you for the whole time. And the guide is who guides you through your life. So you've chosen the life that you want, all the experiences that you're going to do, whether they be good or bad, and the guide is going to stay with you through those. And you may come to a point in your life where you were supposed to do one thing and you steer off and you go a different path and you go a different way. And the guide remembers that your life contract, I'll talk about contract in a few minutes, but your life contract, what you chose to come down here to do, your life contract, you're now veered off of that contract and you're not in alignment, and your guide will try to steer you back onto the path of alignment where you are in the path that you wanted to do. Back into alignment, back into having all of those experiences. Because sometimes we choose to come down here to do all of these things and then we totally go on a different path and it leads us totally somewhere else. Remember, as a human being, we have a human experience down here. We have free will. We can change at any moment in time. So when you hear of people having a spiritual contract, I don't really like the word contract, because contract to me is really like a set in stone type of a thing, where I don't believe it in that way. I feel that at any moment you can change your life's path. It's totally up to you, because we have our own free will to do that. So if things are too hard for us, we can decide, actually this is way too hard, I can't do it, and you can totally change path and go in a different direction, totally away from what you chose before you were incarnated into the human experience, into your human incarnated body that you're in. So you can also have angels that are with you. You can call your angels. So there's a lot of people who would say, oh yeah, I pray to my angels, and angels are also with us on the spirit side. So they're also in. People say, oh, I have a car parking angel. I say that. I always say that. And if you can understand that angels are multidimensional, we're all multidimensional, but angels are multidimensional beings. They can be in 50 places at once. So you can say to Archangel Michael, can you get me a car parking space? Archangel Michael can also be helping out in America, helping out in Syria, all at the one time, because they're multidimensional. They can be in different dimensions all at one time. We down here as a human experience have linear time, because it helps us in having the past, the present and the future. It gives us, we're able to understand it more. Over in the spirit side, there's no such thing as time. It's a blip for them. So we have angels also in spirit. We also have anybody who we would pray to. So I, as a young child, being a Catholic, I would have went to mass. I would have went to mass because I loved singing in the choir. I went to mass because I was sent to mass, because that was the way then. That was the generation that I was from. My mother was the same. Her parents were very religious, because in Ireland, very Catholic, very much under the conditions of the Catholic Church, very much in the limited beliefs, and all of those things happen. Now we are, I would say I'm a truth seeker. I never really believed in what I was told, even though I believed some of the story, but I never believed some of the things I thought, that doesn't make sense, that doesn't make sense. So I always wanted to know more, so I would have searched for the knowledge. I had my first Reiki experience, as you know from my other videos, when I was in 2006, when I had been attuned to my Reiki level 1. That was in 2006. And when I was working on my auntie, who taught me at the time, my auntie Ethel, she was teaching me, my mum's sister, she taught me, and I stayed over, because she lives in Manchester, I'm in Dublin. I go over, do my Reiki weekend and stay with her for that night, of the Saturday night into the Sunday. And she said to me on the Sunday, I was going home on the Monday, she said to me on the Sunday, well, there's no time like the present, why don't you give me a session? And I said, oh my God, I'm going to be thrown to the wolves here. I'm going to have to do a Reiki session on my auntie Ethel. She's got to know if I'm good or bad, right? Even though level 1, it's all about healing yourself. It's all about self-healing. But I got to practice on her. And I would never have been a Jesus person as such. Yes, I remember the stories. I remember, the stories from going to church. Remember some of them. It sort of reminds you over time, hearing stories and watching things on television. I remember that story from being a kid. But I would not be a Jesus person as such, unbeknownst to myself. When I was doing the session on my auntie Ethel, I was working on her, working from her head down. When I got down to the root chakra energy, I closed my eyes. I moved from one spot to the next. And when I closed my eyes over the root chakra energy, I saw this flash of the face of Jesus. And it was not the face of Jesus like you would see in pictures. It was the face like an imprint, like the Shroud of Turin. Anyone who knows what the Shroud of Turin is, it's the cloth that they covered Jesus in when he was after being crucified, and is an imprint of his facial features with the blood and all that's on it, and it's called the Shroud of Turin. So I saw a flash of that. I knew it was Jesus, but I just saw the flash of that imprint. So I got such shock. I said, oh my God, did I just see that? And I said, I'll say nothing, I'll just keep going. So I did the whole session, and at the very end I said to Ethel, you're not going to believe this. And she goes, go on, tell me, because she's heard that so many times. I said, I just saw Jesus. She goes, sure, to Jesus fellas here all the time. And for me, it was such a, what? Because to recognize Jesus in more of a normal human way, then not to be the Jesus that I knew of, being this Jesus fella who was put up there on this pedestal, and you have to be revered, has to be put up, higher than me. And she explained it in a way that Jesus is here all the time, in a way that he is also a child of God, like me being a child of God. He came down here to have a human experience, to walk the walk, to be human, to do what he did. Yes, he was more enlightened than most. Yes, he was, he had this amazing healing energy. He was able to do all of the things that he did, but he had a human experience down here, like me, like you, like everyone else who was having a human experience. And sort of really put him in that real human form, like my brother, like my, a family member, like a friend. So I had that connection with Jesus from my experience with Reiki, even though I have had many other experiences over my time of working with Reiki where I've met people who are very much Christian, very much into Christianity, very much Catholic, very staunch Catholic, and believe there's a way of believing Jesus to be, and that is it, and there's no swaying from it. He is be put up on this pedestal. I have worked with Jesus since 2006, and I've worked with him on that very, very human level where I say, Jesus, please come and help. And I'm not a religious person, I'm not a holy Joe, I don't go to mass every day to pray, because I believe that if I talk to God or I talk to Jesus in my heart, that he's listening, because they're just there. The vibrational energy of the human form is here, the veil is between us and them. Jesus and all of the guides and all the spirits, all the ascended masters, all of our angels are all just there through the veil, and they can be accessed instantly the minute that you think about them. So I've had so many experiences, so many amazing experiences with him over my time. And I remember one girl who came to me for a Reiki session way back in the start when I started doing Reiki first. I wasn't really as knowledgeable as I am now, and I'm not saying that I know it all. I'm only scratching the surface of the knowledge that I have got. But I remember way back in the start when I had my first experience with somebody who said, Jesus never charged for healing, Hazel, because I was doing this Reiki healing and setting up my business and charging for doing what I do. And I remember getting that real kick. It was like a kick in the gut. Oh my God, yeah, she's probably right. He never charged for healing. But then over time then, through meditation and talking to him, he said, yeah, I never went to anybody's house without getting my dinner. I never went to anybody's house without getting a glass of wine or getting my feet washed, all of these things. There was always an exchange of energy. Wherever Jesus went, somebody did something for him and he did something for them. There was always an exchange of energy. As we do as healers. And I have spent so many years studying, doing what I do, so I have this knowledge, so I'm able to give that knowledge over to other people. I've spent a lot of time studying, doing all of the stuff that I do, so I can teach you. And that's my time. That's the time that I took out to try to understand it, to try to understand what was on the other side, so I can actually help you understand that we don't have to be under the umbrella of believing it to be one way. If we believe it to be another way and it actually doesn't resonate with us, we can actually come outside the box and come outside from underneath the umbrella and look and ask for the information and ask for the knowledge. And if you ask for that knowledge from the source, you ask Jesus to send me that knowledge, you'll be amazed how that knowledge comes. And when I had that experience, I had a lady who came to me, she said, well, Jesus never charged for healing. And then that lady went off and didn't say very kind words about me. And even though everybody else I've ever had over the time of doing Reiki has always said they felt amazing, they walked out the door, they felt lighter. That's what I went on, the validations of what people said to me. It wasn't, oh, I'm amazing, I'm great. It was what people said, what the validations I got back, that they felt healed, they felt lighter, they felt the energy that was weighing them down being lifted off them when they walked out the door here. When they literally sat up off the bed, they felt that energy was released, right? So I went on the validation of what those people gave me, the validation of actually it must be working because these people feel better, right? And when you do something that is from the heart and you have the passion that I have for the work that I do and it's from the heart, I 100% believe that I have all of these guides in spirit helping me help you. So I wasn't going to back down when she said, oh, Jesus never charged for healing. I was like, okay, God, Jesus, please send me the knowledge. I need to understand all about the healing of what Jesus did. And I wasn't really up on his knowledge about, what he did. I knew bits, of the stories from the Bible and that. I wouldn't really read a Bible, even though I have a beautiful Bible in there. It was given to me by the priest who married us. I wouldn't really read a Bible. I actually open the Bible up on pages. Every now and then if I'm, looking for a bit of knowledge, I open the Bible up and I say to God, please send me the knowledge. And I close my eyes and I pick a spot and I read it, and that's how I'm given my information. But this day I went down to the Magnified, I went down to the library and I said, send me the knowledge. I need to understand about who Jesus was. And I closed my eyes and I chose with my heart and I said, please give me the information. And the information that came was phenomenal, right? I chose from 3 different shelves in the library, and the 3 different books that I got all had Jesus in the title, even though my eyes were closed. So I asked for the knowledge about him, and then I was given the knowledge. I was given the knowledge about him in a science way. It was the book called The Lost Papers, I think it was called. The Lost Papers of Jesus. I was given a book called The Third Jesus by Deepak Chopra, who everybody knows. He's alive and well and an amazing spiritual teacher now. And then there was another book called The Gospels of Jesus. I know Jesus was in the titles of the 3 books. And if ever you ask for the information and you ask them from your heart, I want this knowledge, please send it to me, and also give me the understanding, they will give you the knowledge. They always answer your prayers, right? I started reading those books, and that led me on this massive journey about Jesus and all of, his life and his real life. That stuff that we don't know. We don't know about the 18 missing years of Jesus that's not in the Bible, where he had travelled all over the world. I've read all those books. I haven't read every single book, but I've read enough to know that he didn't stay in one place. Sure, we know that from listening to some of the sayings in the Bible. Is this not the carpenter's son? When they talk about this man who's come back after, supposedly been in the place that he lived all of his life. Why would I be asking that question? Is this the carpenter's son? If he had been living in that place for the whole time, he was off traveling. Mary sent him all around the world, traveling, preaching the gospel, preaching the way. In other words, how to be a kind, compassionate, loving, unconditional loving human being. And he taught that all around the world. It wasn't only in the place that he was supposed to have lived. I read all those books, the Aquarian Gospels of Jesus, all of the books that came from even the quantum healing side of it, where I read a Dolores Cannon book, which was Jesus and the Essenes, and it talks about him living in the community of the Essenes and how they taught him the way of how to be this kind human being that he was. I can tell you this other quick story. Sorry, I'll say quick, and I'll end up being a 10-minute job, but I'll try and put it into quick as I can. I had an experience where I was only doing 2 or 3 people in the start when I started doing Reiki first. I wasn't doing lots of clients, but my guides only give me what you can handle. That's always the way. I had 1 or 2 clients, and my husband was changing businesses, and he was saying, you probably need to go back. I used to do stuff on TV before. I was a singer. That was a lot of money to me, but I didn't really love that anymore. The energy had gone out of my heart for doing that, and I wanted to do this because I just love Reiki and I love anything spiritual like this. And my husband was like, you might need to go back to doing a bit more of the music and entertainment business because we need to pay the bills. This was way back, 2013, 14 maybe. And I remember I have a mobile in Wicklow, British Bay, and I went to this medium that was doing a festival, a fair down there, and it was €10 for 10 minutes for Crumlin Hospital, where my son has been. He's attended Crumlin Hospital for 11 years of his life, and I have such an affiliation to that hospital, so I said, oh yeah, sure, €10, it's going to go to the hospital anyway. And when I sat down in front of the woman, if she had known who I was before as a singer, she would have said, oh yeah, you're into music, you love TV or whatever. She would have given me that information. She didn't know who I was. The minute I sat down in front of her, she said to me, oh, you're going to be a healer. Now, I was already healing at that point, but she said, you're going to be a healer, and if you're not already a healer, you should be. She said, Jesus is standing behind you and he's beaming green and golden light down your back. You're going to have people coming around the corner, like queues of people to come to you for healing. And that was such a validation for me, because I was in the midst of going, should I go back to doing, Reiki, where I'm not really making any money? It's not really about the money, even though at the time, yes, it was, because it was a business for me. I was setting it up as a business. I wasn't really making much money because nobody was really coming. Or will I go back to doing music? And my heart really was in the healing part of it. So I was like, oh my God, I really want to do it. And she said, you're going to do this. He said, you must go forward. You must do it. Do it from the heart. He's behind you all the way. So it was a big thing for me to have that experience, to have that validation. That night, I came home from British. My son was on a machine. I was coming home from British because the mobile I was in was quite small mobile. I couldn't do his machine in that mobile. So I was coming home twice a week to do his machine. My son was on a machine at night time. But anyway, cutting a long story short, I came home that night. My friend, in the midst of that travelling home, said, Hazel, is there any way you'll do a Reiki session on me tonight? I've just got this real pain in my arm. It's gone down into my fingers, like carpal tunnel syndrome. She said, is there any way you'll do a Reiki session on me tonight? Just really, I'm sore. Is there any way I can do it? I said, right, I'll put Pierce on his machine and I'll come out and do a Reiki session on you. So I have Reiki room at the back of my house, and he was on his machine and I came out the back to do a Reiki session. She gets up on the bed, She's not a Jesus person. She was really into Buddha. She loves the Buddha. She's mad into the Buddha. She's Buddha's everywhere. Not into Jesus at all. She gets up on the bed. She's only on the bed a few minutes into the session. I'm working on the top of her head. And she said, oh my God, Hazel, they're all here. She's very good at being able to see. She said, I can see them all. They're all here. All these guides all stand here, all different coloured robes. I can't see their faces, but I can see this one guy to the front. And he's blonde, he's blue eyes. He's got this blue robe or like a blue suit on him, she said. An emblem on his lapel. And she said, he keeps doing this, Ashtar, Ashtar, Ashtar. So she's on the bed with her eyes closed. She keeps doing this to me, Ashtar, Ashtar. And I haven't got a clue who Ashtar is or what it is. And I'm going Ashtar back, thinking it's some form of a greeting. She's like, oh my God, he's going Ashtar, Ashtar. So I'm like, okay. I'm feeling the energy. I don't see, I feel. And I could just feel that these guides were all in the room, all around her. And within the space of like few minutes into the experience and the session on the bed, she puts her hands out, like out, totally out, and she crosses her feet over like she's being crucified on a cross. And she takes a big deep breath and she goes, oh, he's here, Hazel, he's here, the Prince of Peace, he's here for you. And I was like, what? I could feel the energy of it, but I couldn't see him. I knew he was there. I knew the Jesus energy had stepped in because I felt that energy before. But here she is validating what the girl has just said down, the medium had just said down on my experience down in British. He's here for you. He said you must go forward. You must do this. You must do this from the heart. You must do this. This is going to help people. There's a ripple effect that's going out from this. You must do it. He will stand behind you and he will always help you in your work. I felt him coming around the bed, coming around the back of me and beaming golden light into my heart. That's all I can, the feeling of having Jesus in your vibrational energy is one of the most amazing feelings that you just want to burst out crying. When I opened my eyes, I closed my eyes because I got such a fright because I thought, oh my God, I'm going to see him. And I sort of didn't want to see him because I didn't know what way I was going to have, what experience I was going to have. So I closed my eyes to feel it. And she had, the girl that was on, she also does healing work. She had her hand up beaming golden light at my heart. I had my hands on myself and I felt the energy coming from behind me of Jesus' energy. And from that moment on, I have not turned back because I know 100% that he is working with me on the spirit side. Not only him, all of the other guides that I have working with me. I have Apache guides, I have Druid guides, Egyptian guides. So many guides that are working with me now, but I've always had his energy with me, Jesus' energy with me. I've been led to so many books, all about his mother, all about Mary Magdalene, all about Anna, his grandmother, because he was one of the most amazing healers down here who did what I am doing now in human form. He did it, the same thing. I'm not putting myself on any pedestal or putting myself up there like I would just Jesus would be. He was one of the most amazing healers out there. He had the most amazing golden vibrational energy that he used to help people. And if you can only tap into like 2% of that a small amount of that, and that's what I'm doing. I'm tapping into that small amount of energy, his energy, to help other people using that energy through me, because remember, as a Reiki practitioner, I am a channel for the energy that's coming from source. So I'm asking him to use that energy. Can I use and access that energy through my channel coming out my hands to help the clients I have on the bed? And I have had so many experiences since that time in 2013 where I've had the Jesus fella, or Jesus, my brother in spirit, helping me help you. One of the girls I had here yesterday, she also said, I felt him stepping in behind me. I said, do you pray to Jesus? She goes, yeah, well, when I do pray, I pray to him. I said, because it was so prevalent, so real. And I felt him here in this room when I was working on the person on the bed. And you don't have to be a holy Joe. You don't have to be religious. You don't have to be running to mass to pray, because you can access that energy of Jesus, or access God energy, source energy, by calling out and asking for it in your mind. Please, can I have some of this golden energy from source? Can I help and can I use this energy for a person if you want, right? And when I talk about energy, and we say about God's house and about the church, and people saying, oh, well, I don't really go to church. And there's people who go to church every day, right? I love going to Mass when I do go to Mass or the church, because there's an energy vortex in every church. There's whether it be good or bad energy, because some churches have housed energy where there's a lot of negative stuff has happened. But on the most part, people go to church to pray when they're in need, and they go and they sit in church quietly or in a congregation when there's people there with them on a Saturday or a Sunday, to access that energy of the portal of energy that's over the church. Because when you're in that church, there's a portal of energy that you're in that is very easily, we're able to access energy from source or our guides or our angels in that place. So it's always nice to go to church to pray, because you're actually in the portal where you can actually access them really quickly. But remember, you are also your own portal, your own vibrational energy, your own portal, your own pillar of light, where you can also access God instantly, access any of the angels, access any of the ascended masters, any of the guides on the other side instantly, if you also want to do it in that way. You don't have to go to Mass to pray. Even though I like going to Mass, I don't go every day, but I pray every single day, and I call on my guides every single day, because I access them within my own heart now, in the pillar of light that I am now. Sorry, I know that was a long-winded story for you to try to understand it. So you can access any of your guides, any of your angels, any of your ascended masters, any of the people that you want to pray to instantly. You just have to ask them to step in, ask them to help you go through situations, ask them to help you through your trials, ask them to show you information. If you're interested, you're awakening now at this time when there's massive awakening going on, ask them to help you, ask them to show you the way, ask them to send you the knowledge, ask them for the understanding. There's no point in giving you a big book. Oh, here's a cool book, what about this? I'm like the Course in Miracles, but I remember when that book came, I was like, hell, I need a freaking translator for it. Now I can understand it. At the time when I got it, I couldn't understand it. But ask them to give you the knowledge, and also ask them for the understanding so you can understand it. So give it to you as you can understand, because there's no point in giving you a big book that you can't understand. My leg has gone dead, sorry. So, especially at this time when we're ascending, we need to ask more. Ask your guides to help you. Ask your guides to be around more. Ask them for the knowledge. And when you ask, they will give it to you. And I always say, validate, I got that, thanks very much for that now, because I'm so used to being able to say, okay guys, I'm putting out to the universe, I need a book now, I want information on this, I want information on this. And within the space of a few days, sometimes within the space of a day, the information arrives, whether it comes in a client who explains everything to you in a way, or it comes in a book, or all of a sudden you'll be looking at something on TV or on Google or on YouTube, and the information will come. So ask. And if you don't ask, you don't get. It's always the way. Ask and they will give. So many of you now are starting to awaken. So many of you now are looking for more knowledge. So many of you now are actually looking to the light, looking for inspiration from the other side. Please call in your own guides. Know that they're around you. Know that you can access them at any point in time. And know that when you ask, you receive. I hope that information doesn't piss off anybody. I know there's a lot of people out there who believe it to be in one way. They believe it to be their way, and that resonates with them, and they may not resonate with me and what I'm saying. But I've come from it, from a Catholic, grown up in a very Catholic Ireland, underneath the umbrella of the church, where I was taught to never ask questions, told the way, and that was it. You didn't ask anything else. And I have, over my years of studying, looked for the knowledge and asked my guides to help me help you, so I can, relay some of this information over to you. So you can understand that you can access your guides and access Jesus and access God instantly in a split second. You don't need to go into Mass to pray. You don't need to do that. You can sit outside in your back garden, meditation. You can sit in with your children in the bed at night time, saying a prayer with them, and access God instantly like that. You don't need to go to into a physical building to access the other side or the other realms or other dimensions. So hope that information is okay, and it doesn't piss off anyone too much. As I said, if it doesn't resonate with you, it's not meant for you. Move on. You'll see other videos that is going to resonate with you more. And I get it that there's people out there who only believe in it to be one way, and that's okay too. As I was shown it, it's like the Autobahn. We're all on the one road going one way. The Autobahn has 8 different roads. Some people are Catholic, some people are Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever religion you want to be, we're all going in the one direction. Some people jump and go into the fast lane. You know, you have the Christians, and you'll have the Islam. They only believe it to be one way, and that's it, and they won't sway and go off. That's totally fine, because that's their road, that's their path that they chose, that's their own experience, their own personal journey. But some people, like me, I wanted to jump onto different lanes and just have a feel. My dad was Hindu, my mother was Catholic. You know, I am so connected into the Reiki energy now, and Reiki energy has nothing to do with religion, it's to do with energy. We can all access this energy coming from source down through us. We all have it in us. The more we awaken, the more we are ascending now, the more we're able to access it so much easier, and the more we're now looking for and searching for more knowledge of what is on the other side. So again, ask your own guides, ask them to give you that information, ask for the knowledge, and ask for the understanding. Hope that is some good information for you, and take it with my love and blessings. Namaste.